Welcome to Touching Life Deeply channel. This research series is published on the channel at 8 p.m.
And welcome, everyone. Today we're plunging into something we all do, but honestly still feels pretty mysterious. Dreams.
Mm.
They happen to everyone. They can be really quite strange sometimes, and they definitely make you wonder what's going on in there.
Absolutely. I mean, think about it. You spend, what, a third of your life asleep? And a big chunk of that is dream time. But what actually is that state? Why do we even do it?
Yeah, those are the big questions.
Mhm.
So this deep dive is all about tackling them. We've gathered, well, a really interesting mix of sources. We've got the classic thinkers who first tried to crack the dream code.
Right, like Freud and Jung.
Exactly. And then we have the modern sleep science looking right into the brain with all the tech. And we're even touching on how, people talk about dreams today, like on social media and stuff.
Our goal here is really to sift through all this material and pull out the key insights. What can these different perspectives tell us about what dreams actually are, why you have them, and maybe secrets they hold about your own mind?
Makes sense. It's a big topic.
Okay, so maybe let's start with the basics. Ground ourselves in the science first. Before we get into the really weird dream stories, what is sleep itself? And how does dreaming fit into that picture?
Good place to start. So sleep, fundamentally, our sources define it as this reversible behavioral state. Basically, you disengage from what's around you, but it's not just being switched off. It's an active state in its own right.
Right, and not just unconsciousness. And dreaming happens within that state. It's not like an add-on. It seems to be part of the package.
Exactly. And sleep isn't just one flat line. It's a journey through different stages, cycling through the night.
Yes, the sleep cycles. You go between NREM, that's non-rapid eye movement, and REM rapid eye movements, kind of like waves, right?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. These cycles are roughly 90 minutes long, give or take, and you'll usually go through, 4 or 5 of them in a typical night?
And the character of those cycles changes, doesn't it? Like early in the night, you get more deep sleep.
That's right. More of the deep restorative NREM sleep happens earlier. NREM itself has stages like 1, 2, 3, 4, progressively deeper. But then as the night goes on, especially towards the morning, REM sleep starts taking up more time in those later cycles.
Now, here's something I found interesting. You actually dream in both NREM and REM sleep. I think most people just associate dreaming with REM.
That's a common misconception, yeah. You can dream during NREM stages, but the kind of dream is often different. NREM dreams tend to be, less memorable, maybe more thought-like, sometimes just replaying bits of your day.
So the really vivid ones, the story-like ones, the bizarre ones we remember, those are mostly REM.
Overwhelmingly, yes. That's where the highly visual, narrative, often emotionally charged dreams tend to happen.
And one study we looked at really highlights this. It focused on a group known for having very vivid dreams. What did they find?
They found a pretty clear link. These intense dreams were associated with spending a higher percentage of their total sleep time in REM specifically, more than 25% of the night in REM sleep.
That's quite specific.
It is. And it's important because it suggests that maybe abnormalities in how much REM sleep you get or how it's structured could be directly tied to how vivid or intense your dreams are.
Which could be relevant for understanding things like stress disorders or certain neurological issues where sleep gets disrupted.
Exactly. It points towards a potential biological basis for the vividness, prompting more research into the REM sleep mechanisms themselves.
So how do scientists actually watch all this happening? How do they know when you're in REM or NREM or dreaming?
Right. It's not guesswork. It's technology. They use tools like EEG electroencephalogram, which measures your brain's electrical activity. Different sleep stages have distinct brainwave patterns. Then there's EMG electromyogram tracking muscle activity. Because, interestingly, during REM sleep, most of your voluntary muscles are effectively paralyzed, a key feature.
So you don't act out your dreams, usually.
Usually. An EOG electroculogram measures eye movements. Those darting, rapid eye movements are the defining sign of REM sleep, hence the name.
Got it. So that's the modern view, brainwaves, muscle tone, eye movements. But people were thinking about dreams long before EEGs, weren't they? Our sources mention that while some people today might dismiss dreams, historically they were often seen as really significant.
Oh, absolutely. Not just dismissed, sometimes held in profound contempt, as one source puts it. But yeah, historically, dreams were often treated as messages, maybe prophecies or insights into deeper truths, a very different attitude.
And that kind of reverence connects to the big psychological theories, right? Like Carl Jung, he didn't see dreams as random noise.
Not at all. Jung saw dreams as these vital messages sent up from the unconscious. He believed they were like a window into that hidden part of ourselves, revealing things we weren't aware of.
He had that analogy, didn't he?
Hmm.
Consciousness is like a small ship.
On the great sea of the unconscious. Yeah. And dreams help you navigate that sea. They help make the darkness conscious, bringing hidden aspects of yourself into awareness to help you grow psychologically, become more whole.
And then there's Freud. You can't really talk about dream interpretation without mentioning Freud. His ideas were hugely influential.
Definitely. Freud's central idea really was that dreams are fundamentally about wish fulfillment, usually wishes that are suppressed or repressed things you don't want to admit, even to yourself.
But dreams aren't always pleasant wish fulfillment, are they? They can be confusing or upsetting.
Right. And that's where Freud's concept of dream distortion comes in. He thought the dream acts like a sort of censor. It disguises the underlying wish, maybe because it's uncomfortable or unacceptable, to protect your conscious mind while still allowing the wish some expression.
So the dream you remember isn't the raw wish, it's a coded version.
Exactly. It's been transformed. There's that simple example in the sources, the dream of convenience.
Oh yeah, the medical student.
Right. Needs to get up early for the hospital. Dreams he's already at the hospital. What's the wish?
To keep sleeping.
Precisely. The dream creates a scenario that fulfills the wish. I'm already there, no need to wake up, justifying staying asleep. The reality is distorted, but the wish gets its way, sort of.
And Freud argued this applied even to nightmares or anxiety dreams, that they could still be disguised wish fulfillments underneath.
He did. The unpleasantness could be part of the disguise, or maybe reflect the conflict around the wish itself. It definitely makes you rethink things.
He also talked about the dream work, didn't he? The processes the mind uses to build the dream.
Yes, the mechanics of distortion. Things like condensation, where several different ideas, people, or feelings get merged into a single dream image. Very efficient, in a way.
Like a composite character in a dream representing multiple people.
Could be. And displacement, where the emotional focus gets shifted. Something really important might seem minor in the dream, while some trivial detail carries all the emotional weight. It throws you off the scent of the real wish. And symbols, of course, are key. Sometimes obvious, sometimes really not.
Freud also had some interesting ideas about memory in dreams. You mentioned accessing forgotten stuff.
Yeah, hypermnesic dreams. He was fascinated by instances where dreams seemed to dredge up incredibly specific details from the past that the person had consciously forgotten.
Like what?
Like details of a place seen only briefly years ago or a name heard in passing. He gave examples from patients and even his own dreams, suggesting the dreaming mind has access to this incredibly vast archive of stored experience, much larger than what we consciously recall.
Wow. And he linked a lot of dream content back to childhood, too.
Very much so. He believed that early childhood experiences, and especially the powerful, often suppressed wishes from that period, form a deep wellspring for dream material. It's like the foundational layer of the unconscious that constantly bubbles up.
Okay, so connecting that all up, where does the stuff of dreams actually come from? What fuels them?
It seems to be a mix, according to these perspectives. You've got the psychical sources, your own mind's activity. That includes those day's residues. Freud talked about little fragments or feelings from the day before, even seemingly unimportant ones. Your brain is clearly processing recent inputs.
But not just recent stuff.
No, definitely not. Crucially, there are those deeper unconscious wishes and memories we just discussed. That's the internal engine, you might say, in these psychological models.
And it's not all purely mental either. What about physical things?
Right, the somatic sources. Physical sensations during sleep can get woven in. That could be internal things like maybe indigestion or external stimuli, the noise, the temperature.
Like that example of the lawyer.
The barrister, yeah. Dreaming about a complicated case and his wife's cough gets woven into the dream narrative somehow. The external sound gets integrated, often blending seamlessly with the ongoing psychological drama of the dream.
So the subconscious is pulling from this huge reservoir of memories, as one source called it. Not just facts, but emotions, events.
Exactly. It's this vast pool of personal history and feeling that shapes the dream's landscape, the mood, the characters. It suggests dreams could be this unique pathway to exploring your own past and present emotional world, even if the path looks pretty weird sometimes.
Okay, but then modern science comes along with some very different ideas about why we dream, moving beyond just interpreting meaning. like the activation synthesis hypothesis. That sounds technical.
It does, but the core idea is quite different from Freud or Jung. It suggests dreams might start more randomly. During REM sleep, there's a lot of electrical activity firing off, particularly from the brainstem.
Okay, random signals.
Kind of. This activity then stimulates higher brain areas, including those involved in emotion, like the amygdala, and memory, like the hippocampus. So you get this bombardment of random images, memories, feelings.
And the dream is.
The dream is your forebrain trying desperately to make sense of this chaotic input. It tries to synthesize these disparate elements into some kind of narrative, however bizarre. So the weirdness isn't a coded message. It's the brain's best effort to create order from internal noise.
Huh. So it's less about hidden meaning and more about the brain's storytelling function trying to work with random data while it's, mostly offline.
That's the essence of that theory, yeah. A very different take.
And there are other modern ideas, too. Something about a conscious continuum.
Yeah, some researchers see consciousness less as an on-off switch and more as a spectrum. Dreaming, in this view, might be a parallel form of consciousness that's normally suppressed when we're awake. It links waking thought, daydreaming, and various sleep states together.
Interesting. And what about that evolutionary theory, the overfitted brain hypothesis? That one sounded counterintuitive.
It's a really cool idea. Okay, think of your brain like, say, an AI learning from data. Your daily life is the data. Now, if that AI gets too good at just processing your specific daily routine, it might struggle with new or slightly different situations. It becomes overfitted.
Right, too specialized.
Exactly. So this hypothesis suggests dreams, with all their weirdness, their illogical jumps, their stochastic corruptions, basically, the strangeness,
Yeah.
that strangeness might be like adding noise or randomness to your brain's training data overnight. It forces the brain not to get too locked into rigid patterns learned during the day. It promotes generalization.
So the bizarre nature of dreams actually helps keep your brain flexible and better able to handle novelty when you wake up.
Yeah.
Like a workout.
That's the theory. The randomness isn't a flaw. It might be an evolved feature to prevent cognitive rigidity. It helps you adapt by essentially practicing dealing with the unpredictable while you sleep.
Wow, okay. That flips the script again. Speaking of control and practice, that brings us to lucid dreaming.
Ah, yes. Lucid dreaming. This is when you become aware that you're dreaming while the dream is happening.
You realize, hey, this is a dream.
Precisely. It's often described as this kind of hybrid state. You're still in REM sleep, but with a degree of waking-like awareness switched on. That moment of insight is key.
And the really wild part is that sometimes you can gain some control, right?
That's the most fascinating aspect for many people. Once you're lucid, you might be able to influence the dream narrative, change the scene, fly, talk to dream characters consciously, that sort of thing.
Which sounds fun, but is there more to it? Therapeutic potential.
There's definitely research exploring that. Think about recurring nightmares. If you could become lucid, you might be able to confront the source of the fear or change the outcome, or practicing overcoming phobias in the safe space of a dream. It offers this unique platform for interacting with your own subconscious content more directly.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground sleep science, Freud, Jung, random brain signals, evolutionary training, lucid dreaming. What's the takeaway for someone listening? We see dream talk everywhere, right?
Yeah.
People sharing common themes online, falling, being chased, teeth falling out.
Yeah, those common themes are interesting in themselves, tapping into shared human anxieties. But I think the bigger point is that engaging with your dreams through any of these lenses is ultimately a way of engaging with your own mind.
How so?
Well, whether you're trying to decode possible hidden meanings like Freud suggested, or seeing them as Jung's messages for growth, or just understanding the brain science behind REM sleep and maybe why dreams are so weird.
So it's all pointing inwards.
Exactly. It's a pathway, maybe a strange one, but a pathway nonetheless, to potentially processing your emotions, accessing memories you didn't even know you had, and just getting a glimpse into that incredibly complex inner world that's buzzing away every night while you sleep.
So it doesn't really matter which theory you subscribe to necessarily. The act of paying attention is valuable.
I think so. Whether you see dreams as coded messages, or the brain making sense of noise, or evolutionary programming.
The fact that our minds do this incredibly complex, often bizarre thing every night is pretty amazing in itself. It suggests there's always more going on under the surface than we realize.
Definitely. It just underscores how much there is still to learn about the hidden workings of our own minds.
And finally, some of the information in this research episode has been compiled from public sources and scientific publications. We are not responsible for any misuse of the content beyond its intended purpose of education and raising awareness. Don't forget to follow Touching Life Deeply so you won't votes.